Pueblo, Colorado. Physician Dr. Rocky Coleslaw and his family are on their way to dinner when they hit a bad rainstorm. As they seek shelter, they notice another car is being submerged by the water rapidly rising on a low-lying road. Watch what happens next.
As I looked, this car took off and started floating away way faster than I expected.
By chance, a news crew is passing by. They roll cameras. Dr. Coleslaw and others jump into action and try to free 35-year-old Charlene Herrera from the 10-foot deep torrent.
I just saw a piece of wood floating, and so I grabbed it and I just started swimming out.
The car is nearly submerged. The situation looks hopeless.
And I was really hammering away with this piece of wood and making absolutely no progress.
Then it happens. Watch. Another rescuer reaches into the water and somehow he's able to grab Charlene's arm.
Next thing I know, this person is popping out of there like a champagne cork.
Charlene is pulled to safety. It's a feel-good rescue story. But here's the amazing thing. When the car is later recovered, all of the doors and windows are closed and intact.
At this point, I'm still mystified by the whole thing. She'd obviously been through a near-death experience, but she was alive, you know. It was just incredible.
We tried to contact the woman in the car, but we were never able to reach her. So much remains unanswered. How were the rescuers able to get a hold of her? How did she escape when the windows and the doors were shut? Could this be a case of divine intervention or something else?
Unsettling, and it's also just this mystery because nobody seems to know what is causing this strange humming sound. CBS 2's Kevin Rincon gives us a listen.
It's profoundly annoying.
As you hear the noise, it's hard to make out what it is.
It sounds very much like a resonance, a harmonic resonance, like if you can picture someone rubbing the top of a crystal glass or a tuning fork.
What does that sound?
Mo Hussein, he took video walking home one night. He's noticed the sound for over a year.
I liken it to like some sort of alien invasion. As you're walking around, even in the middle of the night, you hear this hum off in the background and you wonder what could that be?
You know, I thought about that. And they're only landing in the middle of the night.
For Adrena Banks, her theory, it's construction related, but admits it could be anything.
It's just this consistent humming that doesn't seem to go away and goes on for hours. It's so piercing that it keeps you up.
Neighbors called 311, but when the city's Department of Environmental Protection showed up, the sound had stopped. We reached out to the DEP several times on Thursday, and they now say they plan to return to try and find the source of the nuisance. It's not just loss of sleep or an inconvenience. There are plenty of people here concerned that this could have larger psychological impacts, which is why they're hoping speaking out could help bring them some peace and quiet. In Fort Greene, Kevin Rincon, CBS 2 News.
It's like a UFO. See that shit? What is it?
In February of 2013, a few residents of a neighborhood in northern Oregon filed reports of strange noises coming from the forest. The noises were described as what sounded like eerie laughter. It was loud and echoed throughout the nearby area. One of the residents that heard the sounds went outside to where they seemed to be coming from and started recording. Some think the noises are being made by foxes or coyotes, but others don't think so, saying coyotes, for example, have a much more canine-like shriek and aren't nearly as loud. It's still unclear what exactly was making the noise that night. On September 6, 2016, a Reddit post was made linking to a video that claimed to feature a weird noise from the woods. Included was text that read, "I put the kids to bed tonight and heard this loud, really bizarre sound coming from the woods outside my house. It lasted about 15 to 20 minutes. We have a handful of neighbors nearby, but this was too loud to be coming from them. It seemed to be coming from the direction of a nearby AM radio tower, but can those towers make noises like this? I googled around but couldn't find anything similar." This is the video. Commenters immediately started speculating what the sound could have been. One of them suggested it could have been the sound of high winds passing through a nearby cell tower, the metal on metal being what created the eerie tone. But the poster replied saying there was almost no wind that night, and even on days when it was windy, he never heard this sound. Another said the sound was extremely consistent with what it sounds like to drill into a strut or support that's made of high carbon steel, but said that it would be weird to be doing this that late into the night. To this day, it's still unknown what the sound in the video actually is.
Speaking of forest creatures, I thought a Bigfoot sighting would be the perfect way to start off the list. Todd Standing is one of the most prolific Bigfoot researchers in the world, and whether or not you believe his stories to be real, they have been examined by many people. In this clip, Todd Standing can be heard breathing heavily as he films a creature that appears to be Bigfoot. The creature is seen several times in the clip. Take a look.
See him above there, by the trees. I got it.
In this video, which is actually from a Bigfoot campout, an animal or creature of some sort was caught on camera during a conversation between two of the participants.
Yeah.
Like a thrust and not a hang, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because
Something hard and fast.
For any amount of time,
What the heck was that? Did you see that?
Sam's been checking it out.
Whether it's a gray squirrel, some unknown forest creature, or something else entirely has not been confirmed. This video shows a strange creature hiding. Not much is known about the clip, but if it's real, it could appear to show an alien. That's what it looks like to me at least, but other theories have also been circulating, such as the creature being a monkey. Some have even called it a ghost, but that seems pretty unlikely. This video allegedly shows an orang pendek, which is a cryptid that reportedly inhabits remote mountainous forests on the island of Sumatra. In the video, a group of trail motorbikers was startled by the appearance of a human-like creature that was smaller in stature suddenly emerging from the woods. Some have pointed out that it could be a manti, an ancient tribe thought to be extinct. Take a look. Orang-pendeks are thought to be no more than 120 centimeters tall, which could perhaps fit the description of the thing caught in the video. It could also look like a native, but let me know what you think. James Jones was in the process of making his own homemade indie horror movie. He had set up a prop ritual circle he designed based off research he had been doing. After some rehearsals, he and his friends called it a day. Later, as he was heading back to the circle, he saw this figure. He says the strange thing is that the figure appeared on the exact spot that he had created the ritual circle. Take a look.
See that thing right there? It's creeping me out. I've lived here for going on 7 years and walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there. See it? It's got a funny head shape. It wasn't here earlier. Yeah, no, it's not a stump. It's not a broken tree or whatever. I don't know. It looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times. It's weird. Yeah, I look some way.
The day after, he went out right before sundown and the figure was gone. He says they completely ruled out trees or stumps. So what could this creepy figure possibly be?
Even if it tries, science cannot explain everything that happens around our planet. There are mysterious stories and strange recordings everywhere that lack logic or go beyond reasoning. They are unconnected facts, unusual moments that reveal that there are creatures that escape any possible worldly explanation. Some of these recordings belong to the public domain, and today we have compiled them for you to witness with your own eyes the strange creatures that neither science nor reason can explain. If you're willing to dive into these stories and discover their secrets, then join us and get ready to discover some chilling facts. Number 5. Creature in the Forest. In 2010, a strange video burst onto YouTube and surprised all those who managed to watch it. Posted by T-Racer88, the images capture a visit of friends through the woods in Strongsville, Ohio. The night seems to cover the whole place, and although the objective of the group was precisely to capture some pictures of paranormal creatures, what they least expected was that, in fact, something supernatural would appear along the route. At first glance, the photographs show us a peaceful walk. Nothing seems out of place. The group smiles for the camera as they walk through the forest. However, something is going on in the images. If you look at the background, an unusual figure emerges amidst the darkness. We can notice a humanoid head almost instantly, a creature with a deep gaze charged with rage. The monster seems to be lurking behind the bark of the tree, protected by the gloom. Believe it or not, the group returned home believing they had failed in their mission. But 3 days later, when they were developing the photographs, they came across the image of this monster. What was this creature? Was there any evil intent in its gaze? And why didn't it attack them? There are many answers to this on social media, but what they all agree on is that this group of friends was extremely lucky to escape without getting a scratch. Number 4. The Texas Monster. Although we never think about it, surveillance cameras abound in all big cities. not only those used by the state to protect people, but also those installed by the neighbors in an area. We can detect important events thanks to them, although sometimes some creepy moments also sneak in. This is precisely what happened at the Yellow Zoo in Texas. In this area, a night surveillance camera with a motion sensor captured something monstrous similar to a werewolf. The images were posted on a Reddit forum, and all those who have come across them seem to doubt. While it may seem impossible on the surface, it's hard to deny what our eyes can see. The werewolf has a prominent elongated snout that is believed to be full of sharp teeth. It also has pointed ears, thick and abundant fur, and to everyone's surprise, walks on its hind legs. For many users, these images definitely reveal the disturbing monster that could be lurking among us. However, no consensus has yet been reached about this image. It could be manipulation or one of the creepiest hidden realities that have been recorded to date. Which one should be chosen from the two? It's a decision that belongs to you. Number 3. The Californian Creature. Recently, the US news portal Patch shared a video that went viral without its editors having much faith in it. The video was captured by the surveillance camera of a house in River Canyon, California, and it would be the first real proof of the famous Californian creature, a beast that numerous people have been claiming to exist for several decades. The recording is dated May 26 at approximately 3:30 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and it shows an unusual beast that appears to be out of this world and is difficult to identify. An in-depth analysis seems to associate this strange creature with a demonic ape, although it actually looks more like a walking skunk with its tail raised. In fact, some users are convinced of this, as various wild animals often appear in the area for no apparent reason. However, although the idea seems to fit, there are many unknowns surrounding this monster. For most people, this creature has supernatural traits and, far from being a skunk, it would be a paranormal monster that lurks in the dark and has been the protagonist of numerous complaints throughout California. Sightings of this Californian monster have caused terror in several counties, and law enforcement has been trying to track it down to determine what's behind this mystery once and for all. Unfortunately, whenever they seem to be close to catching this cryptid, it drastically changes areas and is reported to be somewhere elsewhere in the state. It seems that this monster is smarter than many may think, but perhaps the day will come when it'll be in the wrong place and we'll discover its secrets. Number 2. Monsters Among the Trees. The next creature was captured almost by accident during a walk in a forest in Russia. In appearance, the beauty of this place conveys peace and tranquility. There's nothing to make us think that something bad could happen in the middle of this path, but that's about to change. When our explorer turns on his heels and moves the camera in the direction of a huge trunk lying on the ground, we find something creepy. The tree has a huge opening and darkness abounds inside. All is gloom in its entrails, but then something emerges from them. It is an elongated, thick body with unknown skin and two disturbing eyes, similar to those of an out-of-this-world alien monster or beast could have. The gaze of the monster lasts for a few moments, as if it were waking up from a deep sleep. Its body moves slowly, but before we can appreciate the dimensions of the beast more accurately, our cameraman leaves the scene. But we cannot blame him. Who would stay in that place to witness what could be an unknown and dangerous creature? However, finding this subject leaves us with 1,000 questions in the air and not a single answer. What is this creature? How did it get there? Are there more like it inside that tree? These mysteries remain unanswered. Number 1. Dinosaurs. Without any doubt, dinosaurs disappeared from the face of the earth. This is a universal truth that, believe it or not, has its exceptions. At least, this is what these 3 mysterious recordings prove. Are there still dinosaurs around us? Let's check it out. The first video we have managed to access lasts only a few seconds, but they are enough to show great doubts. In it, you can see strange footage of a potential prehistoric creature moving at high speed. Its features have many similarities to that of a small dinosaur. Long legs, thick body, small arms. All these features have certain similarities, Although if you don't think it's enough to believe in dinosaurs, maybe the following image will help you. This image was captured in Montana in 2014 and shows a creature that fits all known descriptions of a pterodactyl. The photograph was captured by a man who was vacationing with some friends at Flathead Lake. At first, he mistakenly thought it was an eagle, but soon discovered his mistake. The beast was 3 times the size of the largest eagle ever recorded, and its beak was so long and thin that it bore little resemblance to any other animal. Additionally, this creature had a crest protruding from the back of its skull, a very particular feature that, together with its almost 6 meters in length, confirmed that it could only be a true pterodactyl. Something similar happened to an editor of a popular Texas newspaper, who published an article with the testimony of a man that claimed to have seen a dinosaur in Hebronville. Naturally, the audience seemed skeptical to believe such information, but something unusual happened. The editor received an anonymous letter containing an unusual photograph followed by some information. According to this reader's account, in 2000, while walking home from his friend's house along the Hebronville County Wilderness Trail, he decided to take some photos when he noticed something strange. A short distance away, someone or something was surrounded by a big cloud of dust. Curiosity got the better of him and he slowly approached the danger. When he was close to the area, he could see who was responsible for the commotion with his own eyes. A few meters away, something impossible appeared. It was a small T-Rex dinosaur about 4 meters tall. Immediately, the man kept calm, pointed his camera, and managed to capture a photograph of the beast. The newspaper editor received the image and was horrified. In the photograph, you can clearly see the shape of the beast, which has the perfect physiognomy of a dinosaur. Of course, each of these images and videos has been the subject of much debate and discussion. It's difficult to determine the veracity of these sources, although you may be surprised to learn that these aren't the only allegations involving dinosaurs that have been reported. Without going any further, there are numerous sightings of ferocious monsters in Africa every year. They have features that perfectly match dinosaurs and feed on animals and humans without distinction.
Skeleton with glowing eyes. Either this is a prison escapee or a good old ghost. A group of young hikers who were out on a camping trip in Casanino National Forest, Arizona. While exploring the forest, they noticed a troubled-looking man sitting beside a narrow stream of water. To get a better look at it, the light was focused on it, to which it reacted by suddenly turning and staring at them. It had a shaved head with a skinny body, almost as if it were a Halloween skeleton. No matter how dark it gets, human eyes do not glow or reflect light, which clearly shows that this was no human, but a skeleton ghost. Glowing-eyed mummy chase. Just by looking at the glowing eyes, you can know this certainly is no hoax. In September 2019, 2 colleagues were returning from work in their car when a manly figure in the dark started sprinting parallel to them. Seconds later, the ghostly figure closed in towards the light, revealing its final form. It seemed to look like a mummy with glowing eyes and an incredible speed. First, it got closer to them and then attempted to jump into the vehicle when the driver was able to speed away. This certainly could not be a human, but a mummy that may have gotten possessed by a supernatural entity. Ghost attempts to hide. Either this ghost dozed off into the water or it was attempting to hide itself. A trail camera planted on a bridge next to a haunted house captured footage of a ghost that tripped into a small stream. The camera was placed in the area to investigate the cause of disturbance in the area in the dead of night. After reviewing the footage, many believe that this would rather be a cause of a young woman being possessed by a ghost. Flying humanoid. If the furry humanoids weren't spooky enough, you now have one that can fly. 2 young boys, while playing in the backyard of a farm in Kent, United Kingdom, noticed a weird-looking hive. With their father filming the video, they got closer to the hive when a flying bug came out of the hive. At first, it was thought to be a firefly or a dragonfly, but seconds later they could notice that this bug is humanoid. From arms to legs, it had a body structure completely similar to that of a human with wings to fly. As it came flying out, the father and the kids reacted by fleeing away. Since the footage has gone viral, many call it a real-life fairy. Forest zombie. This looks to be either a zombie or a clown, or perhaps both. After numerous reports of something haunting a small part of a forest in Ontario, Canada, paranormal investigators decided to investigate. After several hours of searching, they weren't able to find any ghosts, but rather a zombified being that was stalking them from a distance. Upon one of the paranormal investigators spotting this haunting figure, it quickly escaped behind the tree and into the darkness. It had sparkly eyes, clown-like makeup, sharp reflexes, and not to mention huge in size. Imagine the horror of such a nightmare ambushing you. Jungle highway crawler. Choosing a highway to crawler in the middle of a forest is probably the worst place to be around for creeping onto someone. Only a few days ago, a transport driver, while passing through the dense Valdivian temperate rainforest road, came across a naked-looking crawler in the middle of the road. It looked to be quite skinny, as a frame of moving skeleton with a very bleak face and hair, although it remained mostly stationary. But according to the driver, it was too eager to get closer. The driver, who turned around for alternate route out of fear of his safety, was criticized by many for not helping a possible man in distress. Sword hand skeleton. Something as scary as this surely redefines the notion of haunting spirits in graveyards. With the appearance of a sharp footstep-like trail all around the cemetery, gravediggers decided to place a trail camera, hoping to find some answers. To their surprise, a disturbing-looking rake being was caught on camera as it was passing by the graves using its sword-like limbs to move. Its body was merely a dark shade of skeleton. While many consider it a rogue ghost, some call it to be a case of reincarnation or a dead man walking. Humpy ghost. It's probably the hump that may have gotten it not so mobile. A group of friends who were lighting up firecrackers to celebrate the 4th of July when they were interrupted by a high-pitched guttural cry. Curious for answers, they decided to investigate the noise. While passing through the trees, they were abruptly stopped after spotting what looks to be a weird, humpy entity in the dark. Since the idea of getting closer for identification wasn't an option, they decided to lobby a flying firecracker in its direction before running away.
Get the hell out of here.
Many take it to be a case of a drugged-up human, but whatever it was surely is a terrifying sight to behold. Dark furry monster. This particular dark furry monster may initially seem like a man wearing a Halloween costume until you look closely at its eyes. Two explorers, while passing through the forest of northern Iran, spotted an eerie hiding behind the bushes. Due to the pitch darkness of the night, they were forced to get closer to it to investigate. While preaching religious chants, they were to get close, but still could barely see it. It had a dirty fur-like coat with incredibly white eyes that were visible. Due to lack of light and fear of the unknown, they weren't able to get a good look at it despite being spitting distance away from it. Tall, furry humanoid. The bigger and furrier it is, the more concerning it gets. After dozens of reports of a tall, furry, human-like figure being noticed in a woods near Winnipeg, a former canine expert was hired by wildlife experts to find and investigate. The canine tracker, after hours of attempting to find the rumored humanoid, was about to call it a day until the notorious being made a sudden appearance as it passed by the tree. The tracker attempted to get a closer look at it, but his dog refused to join into the pursuit, creating a moment of confusion that aided in the humanoid's escape. Fortunately, a camera was installed on the dog harness, which captured the first ever glimpse of this rumored being. Slender Man. In 2018, two friends and a little girl were traveling across states when they bumped into an abnormality, tall and suspicious-looking man referred to as the Slender Man. The Slender Man appeared in the middle of them, making the driver turn off-road and into the grass before stopping. Seconds later, the camera blacked out and started recording once again, showing the Slender Man walking in the woods with the little girl. One of the two friends went missing, while the other was able to find the little girl with a note, left behind probably by the Slender Man. Till date, authorities haven't been able to figure out who or where this tall being came from. Creepy cryptid encounter. Is this a bird of some kind or just a horribly looking rodent? While out for an adventure, a tourist encountered a creepy looking animal that was hiding behind a dried up tree trunk in the Appalachian Mountains of North America. Its face looked as if it were deformed with something like a beak on the face. The intentions of this animal were unclear, as it never moved much besides keeping the eyes locked onto the recorder. With the behavior as such, the tourist described it to be an unrecognizable animal that was later pronounced to be a cryptid. Skinwalker attack in woods.
Oh!
If you hear an unsettling humming sound, it's probably for the best to stand clear of it. A man, while driving on the outskirts of Montana, stopped for a cigarette break when he heard a very unsettling humming sound all of a sudden. Out of curiosity, the man entered the woods to find the source of the sound when a skinny, fast-moving skinwalker appeared from nowhere in pursuit of the man, almost as if it were a predator. What happened next remains a mystery. However, the fact that this video made it to the internet shows that the man who recorded the footage may have survived. Alien Scout. The appearance of the UFOs and alien sightings such as these are surely not a mere coincidence. A couple along with their neighbors were camping nearby the Big Bear Lake in California when a tiny possum-like being made a sudden appearance, catching them all by surprise. According to the witnesses, it had a physical appearance similar to that of a fictional character, Dobby from the Harry Potter movies, but was a bit too green. As the wildlife experts are trying to make sense of the incident, many debated that this could be an alien scout, especially due to a UFO sighting the previous day. Cryptid caught on camera. Cryptid or not, even they tend to make mistakes and get seen. An explorer, while placing his trail camera in a mountain forest somewhere in the United States, found a mysterious shadowy figure. It was seen curiously peeking out from next to a broad tree trunk and got caught on the camera that was still recording. Although it didn't show any sinister intentions, the cameraman quickly ran away from the area. The fact that the nature of this being is unknown and you never know what it might be capable of, he instinctively decided to run away. The figure remains a complete mystery, despite widespread online exposure. Crooked-faced walker. This is one of those times when something fictional becomes a reality. Residents from a small town in Wisconsin reported numerous appearances of this crooked-faced walker, which has a resemblance to a mythical character called the Spirit Walker. Locals would often wear costumes depicting the walker until it actually started appearing after dark at festivals and community events. So much so that it was locally known as the Spirit of Bizarre. It has a body structure similar to that of a man with extremely long, bony arms, all covered in a suit and a mask. The footage was taken by one of the cameras that was placed to get a closer view at it. Shady Beast. With little to no trees around, the chances of it being a monkey is next to impossible. A footage captured in a woodland area in Nebraska shows a troubled-looking individual that was spotted by passerby as it appeared out from behind the grass. The author of the video at first thought it to be a monkey in distress or an animal of some kind until it got closer and up on its hind, revealing its terrifying face as it began chasing. The recorder described it to have a beastly appearance, which, after video getting viral, was later nicknamed as the Shady Beast. Catching birds for dinner. A simple fact that gorillas are not known to hunt birds is enough to say that this isn't something normal. A video recorded in March 2016 by a fisherman who was returning from a catch, shows a huge furry animal on top of a pole. This furry animal was attempting to catch seagulls flying nearby. Upon capturing one of them, it started bashing the seagull aggressively on the pole, presenting its incredible strength, and started eating minutes later. As it was able to climb tall, narrow poles easily, many speculated that it could be a gorilla, but honestly, it seems like a really hungry Bigfoot. Groot-like creature. If Groot has an evil twin, this probably has to be it. A Virginia family of 3 went out for trekking in the nearby forest where they noticed a tall, dark man-like tree that also happened to be staring at them. The parents commented that they felt like being followed by an unknown stalker hours after entering the forest. Coincidentally, they happened to notice the same tree, despite moving for several hours, which raised their suspicion. Interestingly, the tree creature didn't seem to have any footsteps left behind and remained stationary until it was seen moving slowly. Could it be that a tree somehow came to life, or is it an outer Earth visitor? Giant Tarzan. A sighting such as this is probably a dream come true for all the Tarzan fans. A construction worker in Minnesota, while on a break, saw that this very tall man, who was caught by the magnificence of modern construction, it looked almost naked, covered only by a dark piece of clothing with a height twice to that of an average person. As one of the construction workers riding on his bicycle passed by that point, this real-life Tarzan suddenly disappeared. Since the footage was taken from quite a distance, the tall man wasn't identified properly. Caned Ghost Yoda. Facing off a pissed Yoda is more dangerous than all other scary creatures in the dark. A cowboy on a horse was passing through woods while looking at some missing cattle, bumped into a tiny being having similarity to that of a Yoda from Star Wars. This Yoda, resembling a ghost, was running towards the cowboy while aggressively stabbing its sharp cane on the ground. It began to gain pace upon closing in, and due to the fear of the unknown, the man responded by fleeing. While the actual intentions of the caned ghost Yoda may remain a mystery, it definitely couldn't be any good. Aggressive Yeti. What could be scarier than being killed by a Yeti? It's having one to trip and fall onto you. In January 2021, 2 friends out on a 3-day hiking adventure came across some way scarier than your typical wild animal, a Yeti. The Yeti appeared out of nowhere and started inspecting their backpacks when they returned back to their base camp with firewood. During the unwarranted inspection, the Yeti unknowingly pepper sprayed itself in the eyes. It began to panic aggressively. It got so aggressive that it nearly fell on the hikers before stumbling down the hilly terrain. Bigfoot with glowing eyes. Maybe this Bigfoot was just showing off its sparkling eyes. A TikToker, while out in the Canadian woods for a video, had a close call with this giant gorilla-like creature with exceptionally bright eyes. At first, it was thought of being some gorilla, until after it came closer while passing by. Being caught in fear and confusion, he decided to film the incident. To get answers, the video was uploaded on social media, where many called it a Bigfoot, and that this might be the closest ever encounter with one of them. The TikToker definitely was fortunate enough that the Bigfoot didn't display any predatory behavior. Naked man. A hunter while passing past a forest nearby Tomorrow World area when he heard someone calling at him for help. Upon looking down, he noticed a man with not a stitch of clothing on him standing by the creek along with a walking cane. While maintaining distance, the naked man claimed that he had been robbed, beaten up, and stripped of all clothing by bullies during the music festival before being dropped in the woods. After days of trying to survive, he decided to stick next to the creek. The hunter managed to get a number of the naked man's next of kin to get in touch so they could come and get him. This picture was captured by a lost traveler who was passing through a forest in New Zealand on June 10, 2021. The traveler, while stopping to rest for the night, was disturbed by a terrifying zombie-like cry not too far from his location. In hopes to offer help, he called closer to the source of the sound, only to find its point of origin from something that looked unlike any known human. Seconds after the encounter, the traveler immediately decided to flee for his life. After several minutes of running away, the recorder hid himself under a tree bark and decided to remain stationary till dawn, leaving having this picture, the only clear view of this being. Paranormal creature climbing. Something so dark and tiny as this rules out the possibility of it being a burglar. A security camera placed opposite to a villa in a rural area of Karnataka, India, shows a black child-sized creature that crawls next to the villa until it starts climbing up. Locals believe it to be the spirit of a young child that once lived in the house to be returning, while others believe it to be a jinn. Whatever this may have been, it was surely sneaky enough to get past the guard that was sleeping in a chair facing right in front of this paranormal being. Dead alienoid. Alien or not, death surely doesn't spare anyone. Texas farmers who had lost several of their chickens due to numerous animal attacks decided to lay down a bait to draw out the animal. Upon doing so, they noticed a very unusual looking animal in the fields who took the bait in a manner similar to the attack on the chickens. One of the farmers, either pissed or terrified of this alienoid, fired at it, but it managed to escape. After following the bloody trail closely, the alien animal was later found dead next to a tiny bush after having bled out due to the critical wound. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.